Hi, this is Clifford again. Today I'm gonna be talking to you about everything that is in the AKG, like the basic and everything. So what you need to know how to read an AKG and what is the reading for each AKG. So as you can see, I have with me today. So if you can see it well, so I can show you this. So you can see like little squares and tiny squares. So those are really important to know, and this will help you to reading the AKG and give the perfect rhythms, and even trying to help other people with what they have, and so those are really important things that really important things that we really need to know about those things about the AKG. So first time, so I was like trying to paint you something to understand it better. So in each AKG, as I was showing it a moment ago, you can see these little squares right here. You can see those little squares here. You see it well, and inside of them you have like those tiny square. So those are really important to know, because if you're not reading an AKG on a computer, and you have only a strip in your hand, and when I mean strips, I mean like someone that they have been trying to put all the leads on him, like trying to put the tele on him, and to have an EKG, or I mean to have like the aspect of the heart of that person. So okay, so now let's talk seriously. So each EKG, how I was telling you, so has this little has this box, those little boxes, and those tiny boxes. If you see it right here, if I can take one right here, let me put it right here so you can see it very well. So those right here, they measure 0.2 seconds. So each box, the big box that you have, that they measure like 0.2 seconds. And each little tiny box that you have right here, if I can draw it inside of this, each tiny box right here, they measure 0.4 seconds. It's really important. You can see it really well right here. I put something like an arrow inside of it. This arrow inside of this tiny box measure 0.04 seconds, and you will see like when we are going further, so you see how important it is to know about this. And this big box, like right here, as you can see it, they measure 0.2 seconds. And what you need to know, so each little tiny box, they have a height of like 1 millimeter. So we said that because it's really important when we are going to see like ST elevation, or when you have an ST elevation or ST depressions. This will help a lot to know, because when you just look at like the height of the T wave, or you will see if it's like less than 1 millimeter or more than 1 millimeter, you can see what's really going on. So this is really important. I remind you again, guys, like the little tiny box, they are like 0.04 seconds, and the big box that you have, like they measure like 0.2 seconds. This is really important. And remember in the last video that we had, like if you can see it well right here, so we're talking about the P wave and the QRST. So I just point that to let you know more about it. So remember we were talking about the PR interval. A PR interval, if you remember that the PR interval, I said that was 0.2 to 0.20 seconds. So more than that, you have something pathologic. And we were talking about the QRS right here. The QRS is less than 0.12 seconds. Less than 0.12 seconds. So it's less than that. And we're talking, if I can draw it, this is here to here, like here to here. We have the PR interval right here, and right here that you have the QRS right here. We can start it here if you want me to. You have the QRS, and the QRS is less than 12 seconds, less than 0.12 seconds. This is like really important to know about. And we were talking about the QT interval. The QT is like less than 1.5 seconds, like more than that. So you're gonna have like torset de pointe, or you're gonna have a cardiac arrest. This is really important to know. So this is what we were talking about, and I remind you again. So just know that you have a P interval and you have the P wave, and this P wave mean that you have like atrial. This P wave right here, if I can show you really well, the P wave right here mean you have a atrial contraction, or you have atrial depolarization, and the QRS right here means that you have like a ventricular depolarization, ventricular depolarization. And this T wave right here, it means that this is the time that you have like your muscle, the myocardium. This is when you know that the heart is aiding on having his blood and diastole, and this is the time that you have the time of repolarization. I put it right here, you can see it. This is the repolarization time, and this repolarization time is where like you have like your heart like getting the amount of blood that he wants to to keep doing the same job that he's doing, like pumping the blood to the periphery. Okay, this is like repeating again. So remember in the last video that we're talking about before the P wave right here. So this is the P wave. We can see it with me right here. That's the P wave, you know that. But I put it right here again for you to remind you. This is the atrial contraction. This is very important. And in the last video I said it again. I said it. You see, I divide like the P wave in two. So you have the first part of it. This is the wide atrium contraction, because of like the SN node is in the wide atrium, so the SN node gonna give branches first for the wide atrium. So this is the reason why you're gonna have like the wide atrium contract first before the left atrium, and this is the left atrium. And before this P wave we have a line, so this is very important. I put it right here, if you can see it. This and this is the for the P wave, and we call it the isoelectric line. So this is what I was basically telling you in the last video. We were talking about the wide atrium contracted before the left atrium right here, and this P wave divided in two because the SN node. The SN node gonna give like branches first for the wide atrium, and after it's going to give the Bachman bundle branches that'll be going to the left atrium, and after that you're gonna have like the left atrium contracted to that just after the wide atrium. This is why we have like the P wave divided into part. And they said it right here. The portion of the line from the T to P is to be used as the isoelectric baseline. So this is important, but not really important for now. Now we have what we need to know is that we need to know that there's a P wave right here, and this P wave is mainly the contraction of the atrium, and this is important. And what else? And right here, now they were talking about the isoelectric line. So if we go right here, you can see it with me. They talk about the P wave. What do they say about it? The SN node sends electrical impulse out to stimulate the wide and left atrium. Manifest has a P wave. As I was telling you, it's like when you have this contraction. This is the main thing that I was telling you that they say the way like in the wide atrium, you're gonna have like the SN node that will send the electrical impulse. Electrical activity to the wide atrium first, because this is where you have the SN node, and after that you're gonna have like the this SN node gonna send branches like the bundle of Bachman for the left atrium. And this is the reason why I told you again. So you're gonna have this P wave divided into, and the P wave needs to be upright and lead to. This is very important. Each time that you have your P wave, when they say about upright, when they talk about upright, that means your P wave should be just that way, just upright, just like that. This is an upright P wave. mean, where you're gonna see your P wave upright, this is in lead 2. Very important. When you are reading the EKG, you need to see what kind of lead it is, what kind of lead that you are in. It's like if you are in lead 2 or lead V, or what is exactly. But remember that. So your P wave is gonna be always like, oh, it's gonna be upright in lead 2. This is important. This is the main thing. You see, this is the P wave right here. So it should be upright and lead 2. And this is very, very important. Okay, so we're talking about the P wave upright, and lead 2, and lead 2. Very, very, very important. And that's it. So this is the main contraction of the wide atrium. So this is the thing that I'm going over again. But I know now, guys, you remember that. So just know that when you have like the contraction of the atrium, so you have a P wave right here, and this P wave is not like this on the EKG, but when you are reading the EKGs, you are not going to see that they noted down P wave. But whenever you see that you have these before the QRS complex, this is the QRS complex right here. This is the QRS complex. Each time that you have like the QRS complex right here, like the wave that you have like before that is like the P wave. This is so important. This is the P wave here. Important. Okay, so what did I have for you again? I have other stuff for you, very important. Okay, so we were talking about there are very, very, very important things that we need to know. So what I was telling you, remember that but we were like trying to break down of the part of EKG. So what is it exactly? So PR interval, so time in which impulse travel from AC node to the atria and down to the ventricle. That's really important. What's the normal range for the PR interval? Here again, you can see it with me. They tell you this is very, very important. I put it. And this is where they show you the PR interval. As I was showing you, the PR interval should be around 0.12 and or 0.20. More than that you can tell that you have something going on, a pathology going on. So remember that. So PR interval, the PR interval is this. So important. Always put that in your mind, guys. Like PR interval should be around this, like 0.12 and 0.20. Sorry, right here. So this is very, very important. This is the PR interval. Widely, PR interval. This is interval that you have just right here. This is the R, and this is you know, guys, that this is the P right here, or I can put it right here to see it better, and to right here. So this is the PR interval, and this is like this. It's the range for it is 0.12 and 0.20 seconds. Okay, what else again? So what I was trying to show you, which is really important for us. So remember that we're talking about the QRS complex, we're talking about the QRS complex. So the QRS complex that we're talking, if you can see it with me, it's like we have the Q right here, and the R right here, and the S right here. What we said about the QRS, they say it again. The QRS impulse travel through the bundle of east to the ventricle, indicate ventricular depolarization or ventricular contraction, and this is mainly systole. This is so important, which is what I was telling you. This is very, very important. What I was saying about the QRS, I was telling you before in the last video that the QRS means that you have like a ventricular depolarization or ventricular contraction. In ventricular contraction, so you have like the ventricle that give the blood go through. I mean, the white part of the white part, like you're gonna have like the blood going to the pulmonary artery, and in the left part you're gonna have the blood going to the aorta. So when you have this contraction, so there's an interval for it. For example, like if you have like sometimes you might have like a left bundle branch, or a wide bundle branch, or sometimes you can have like this ventricular contraction really slow, which means that you can have like a left ventricular hypertrophy. So you can have like this, you can have like this QRS complex like larger than it's supposed to be. So remember guys that the QRS complex is like the range for it is less than 0.12 seconds. This is so important. I just note it down here. You can see it with me. Well, I put it right here so you can see it. I just want you guys to know about this. This is very important. And something very important that we're gonna talk about, I just put it right here. So I was trying to see that too. I was trying to, some people just don't understand that when they talk about the QRS complex, they need to have like the Q and the R and the S to have the QRS complex. But no, but put that in your mind now. See, in this, you have like right here, we have the R right here, and we have the S right here. We have R, we have S, but we don't have the Q. See, we have the R right here, we have the S right here. Right here, you know what I'm saying? So you can see it. This is a small, it's in the small S right here. This is the O right here, and we don't have an S. So people will not call it QRS, but this is QRS. That doesn't mean that you don't have the, if you don't have the Q and you have only the S or S, that you don't have the QRS complex. And here you can see it very well. So you see the O right here. That's R right here. You see the Q right here. You see the S. If you can put it R, Q, S. You see it very well right here. But in here, this is small deflection. You're gonna have a small deflection. Small deflection is noted by not by capital letter. So we use R. This is little R. And what we have here, we have S right here, and we have Y right here, we have big R. And those things, that doesn't mean because we don't have like the Q, we don't have the QRS complex. This is so important. They say it right here. So not all the QRS complex have a Q and R prime and S prime. Not all the QRS have a Q and R and S, but they are still called QRS. So this is what I was telling you about. If you see like for a reason why you are reading in the cages, so you don't have your Q, you don't have your Q, you don't have your R, or you have like a RS, or you have like RS or S prime. So it doesn't mean that you don't have a QRS complex. This is so important to know about. Okay guys, let's keep going. Now we're gonna be talking about the T wave. So as I was telling you in a moment ago, T wave, sorry, the T wave. What happened in the T wave? T wave, we remember that we said what we said about the T wave. You can see it with me. This is ventricular repolarization, and this is the resting phase of the cardiac cycle, and this is the diastole. That means like when the heart is going to have the part of the blood that has been pumping to the periphery. So you know like your head and your stomach, your pancreas, and everything in your body needs blood. So this is like, you know, when they have the QRS, you have like the ventricular depolarization. So like every part of your organism gonna have like the amount of blood that they want to, they have to receive. And then this is the diastole right now, and this is like represented by the T wave where you have your heart resting. So this is when he's going to have the amount of blood that he needs to keep doing the same job that he's doing in the organism. And we call it the diastole. And the T wave should typically be in the same direction as the QRS complex, as you see it right here. So the QRS complex. So you have the T wave just right after it. It's like we said the P wave right here, and we have our QRS right here, and this is the T wave where you have like your heart resting and receiving the amount of blood that he needs to continue the job that he has to do for the organ. So and I noted it right here. If you can see it with me, this is the time you have your ventricle resting, and this is the diastole, and the heart oxygenation is doing in diastole. This is when they receive the amount of blood that they need to be received. He needs to be received. So this is very, very important, guys, to know about. So there's something else that I was remember that I was telling you about these things. I was telling you about the QT interval. The QT interval. What's the QT interval? The QT interval, this, see it with me right here. If you can see it well, what's the QT interval? The QT interval is the time from the start of the Q wave to the end of the T wave. So it represents the time taken for ventricular depolarization and repolarization. Large U wave. So I was telling you, remember in the video that I made, I was telling you about the U wave. The U wave is like represent the electrical activity of the Purkinje fibers. This is not really important because we don't note that in the EKG, but put that in your mind that we have a U wave. This is so important to know. And they have listen to this carefully. Smaller U wave and those that are separate from the T wave should be excluded. So it's not really important. So like when you are like reading an EKG, you're not going to see like U wave like in the representation of a EKG. That's how, like, if I can go back and show you something again right here. So we see this is the main representation of it. You're gonna have like a P wave, the QRS complex, and the T wave that I was telling you about. They represent the resting, like where your ventricle are like resting, or you have like your diastole, you have your heart oxygenations because your heart eats and diastole. And let's go further. So there's something that you need to know, but that's really important. That's mainly clinical. So I wanted to show you about this thing. So you can have like sometimes like you have, if you see it right here, I don't know if you see it with me. So you see you have you have your T wave really high. You have like your T wave really high. What does that mean? You would have a high T wave. Sometimes when you have these high T waves, that means you have like high potassium. If you have your potassium really high, so you can have like a high T wave. You have T wave really high. You're gonna have your T wave really high, and you can see, if you can see it right there with me. I just put it right here again. You see, I'm going to do the same thing. This is my QRS, and right after it, you have this T wave. You know, after the QRS, you have the T. This is the T wave here. Like it's like higher than 1 millimeter, because the T wave should not be greater than 1 millimeter. So you have your T wave right here going more than 1 millimeter. So that means that you can have like, for example, like higher potassium, or in this category right here, if you can see it right here. So that's something that we will talk about later. But you can see this long T wave right here, and you can see that you don't even have an S right here. This is mainly what we call ST elevation. ST elevation, if I talk like clinically, when I talk about ST elevation, I'm talking about what is it? It's like AMI, myocardial infarction. This is an MI. So this is a main. If you can see it right here, I'm trying to note it. This is right here. This is mainly like what you would see like in ST elevation in MI, like someone who would come in the clinic with chest pain, like with irradiation in the jaw, or in the back, or in the shoulder, or something like that, in the right arm, or in the left arm. So this is the main thing that you're gonna be seeing. Like you're gonna have like an elevation of the ST right now, or like that. Or sometimes you might not have something to see with MI or something like that. And if you have like, sometimes you can have like, as I was saying before, you can have like in T elevation, but you need to make the difference between you when you have like in T elevation or ST elevation. When you have a T elevation, you're gonna have only the wave T, or just higher than it's supposed to be. But you would see your S, because like you have the QRS, you have your QRS. But when you have ST elevation, it's like you have like the S and the T just have they kind of look the same, and they go upright. This is so important. This is very important. They are like really high and like they are greater than 1 millimeter, something like that. Okay, but let's keep going. So remember that we were talking about the QT interval right here. Sorry, that's the QT interval. You see it better than me. If I'm gonna show you what's the QT interval here, right here. So we go here for the QT right here. If we go here to here, but what after where it's handed right here. This is the QT interval. I can show you right here. QT. This is the QT interval. The QT interval right here. So we're talking about it carefully. What we said that the QT interval. What is it exactly? I'm gonna tell you again. The QT interval. They say it carefully. The QT interval is the time from the start of the Q wave. As I showed you before, you saw that I was trying to draw it. If I put something right here, let's do a little strips right here, so to try to let you understand what is it, because it's very important. Here we're gonna have like up here, you're gonna have the R right here, and down there you're gonna have your S, and there you go, you're gonna have your T right here. So if we annotate everything, we just see this is the R, and you know before the R, we're gonna have the Q. After the R, you're gonna have the S. This is the S right here, and after the S, you're gonna have the T right here, and before the Q, you have the P right here. So to have the QT interval, so you can draw it right here. I'm trying to draw it with you guys, so trying to follow me. Which side, like at the beginning of the Q has the set in this one, and at the end of the T, just right here. So this is the QT interval, and this QT interval measure, what is it exactly? If you remember, it's gonna be less than 0.5 seconds. It's like more than that. Now you're gonna have something pathologic. This is very, 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 very important. Very important. As I was talking, no, I'm not going to I'm not going back on this anymore. But all of you guys remember the QRS. The QRS is less than 0.12 seconds. More than that, so you're gonna start talking about left bundle branch or right bundle branch. So this is thing that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna be speaking about later, but those will be very, very interesting, guys. Very, very interesting. So for now, just be with me with that. So I was telling you about the QT interval, which is like less than 0.5 seconds. And what is it exactly? The QT interval is the time from the start of the Q, as I did it right here, from the start of the Q, and from the Q wave to the end of the T wave. This is the end of the T wave right here too. You can see it with me. This is the end of it right here, and this is the beginning right here. This is very, very important, and we're gonna be trying to practice some and it will strips to show you what's the QRS and the P wave and everything like that. That's very, very important. Let me see what we have else. Okay, let's see. Let's get going with that. Let's get going with that. There, this is where I wanted to go to. This is so important. So now we're gonna be talking about how to to do the interpretation of EKG. So to do it, so firstly we're gonna have to we're gonna try to simplify each approach of reading an EKG in different steps. So the step one of it, calculate the weight of an EKG. So you need to know the weight first. It's like the weight. What is it what is it? Is it like 100, 200? I don't know. Is it 150 or is it 60, something like that? This is very important, because knowing the weight will show you if you have a fast rhythm or a slow rhythm. So that will help you with the diagnostic. You can see what's going on with your patient. If your patient is having the heart rhythms, like you can have like atrial fibrillation or atrial flutter. It's very important if you have like a sinus attack or something like that. But this is very important to know. So firstly, you need to determine the weight, and if you need to determine the regularity. When they talk about the irregularity, it's they were talking about like when we're going further. So remember that in the first video, in the video that we did, we were talking about the or interval. So like for each let me show you something, if I can show it. So see this right here, so you can see it with me very carefully. And now, and this one, let me show you, if I can show you very carefully. This is, let's go to the other way right here. So this is the or interval. That, see with me, you can watch with me, very important. This is the or to or interval. This is, remember that this is, we're gonna have like your s word right here. You know, after the or, we'll have the s, and you're gonna have your q right here. You know what I'm saying? So this is very important. And you have your p right here, if you can see it with me, but it's not really upright. This is not really upright, but it's like you have your p right here. So if you can see it with me, p q r, but this is p q r s t right here, but it's not really, you don't see it very well, but this is where it is. And here we have the or interval. This is very important. Okay, let's go to our lessons. Okay, step 1, we said to calculate the weight. Step 2 said determine a regularity, if it's regular or irregular. Step 3, so we have to talk about, we have to know about the analyze the rhythm. So what kind of rhythm it is, and how is the p wave, very important. Is the p wave, if the p wave is upright, I was talking about that, is the p wave is upright, or if the p wave is upright before the QRS, or if the P wave is downward before the QRS right here. So this is the P wave right here. Remember, you always have P wave, your P wave right here, like you upright and lead to. Very important to know. I just remind you that again. Remind you this again, guys, very important. And this, sometimes you can have your P wave inverted. This is an inverted P wave. Let me show you right here. This is inverted. You can have your P wave inverted and lead to. So this is another rhythm. So this is called you're gonna have, like, when you have your P wave right here inverted, you can have like a junctional rhythms, or you can have a junctional rhythm depend on the P or interval. But this is things that we're gonna be talking about later, so we're not going to go into details. But remember, but sometimes you can have your P wave, inverted and lead to. You can have your P wave inverted, and that would change your rhythm. So you will not have like the same rhythm as you had, like if you had like your P wave, if you had like your P wave like upright, like just like this, upright. I mean just like that, upright and lead to. Very important. Okay, like. And step 4, you're gonna have to measure your PO interval. Remember what I was telling you? Your PO interval is so important. So what is it important for? Sometimes you can have like a first degree every block. You can have like a second degree every block. You can have like second degree tap 2, second degree tap 2, or you can have like a tap 3. So it's very important. So how do you do that? You need to measure your PO interval, because in second degree type 1. So when you have like your PO interval, you're gonna have your PO interval like different from before a QRS to another QRS, until it drops again and stuff like that. So it's really important to know about it. This is the reason why first I want you to know like how to measure the PO interval. We're gonna be doing some practice to know about the PO interval. And after this, you're gonna have to measure your QRS. And remember that your PO interval is 0.12 seconds to 0.20 seconds. Very important. Now remember, we were talking about the QRS complex. The QRS is less than 0.12 seconds. I put it right here. The QRS complex is less 0.12 seconds. And more than that, so this is the reason why you see they have an accentuation of this. So that means they insist on the QRS. Why exactly? Because if you have your QRS more than that, I was telling you can have a left bundle branch or a right bundle branch. Depends on how your QRS is, if it's upright or downward. So this is thing that we'll be talking about. That's very important. And 6, we talk about we have to measure the QT interval. I told you this is like, I mean, in the very beginning, so you need to know about your QT interval, because some medicine can be acting on the QT interval. And as like, if we talk about amiodarone, amiodarone is one of the medicine that act on the QT interval. And you have like anti-arrhythmic class 1, 2. So like procainamide, they can act on the QT interval. You have like long QT interval until you have like a torsade de pointe and you have like a cardiac arrest. This is very important. And when you're like reading an EKG, so you need to know about the QT interval, because the QT interval have to be less than 0.5 seconds. Very important for everybody. It's very, very important. So take care of that. So you need to know that the QT interval must be like less than 0.12 seconds. Is less than 0.5 seconds. Very important. Okay, now let's go to the main point. So, to know to determine the weight of a rhythm, or I mean of an EKG. So what do you have to do? There's like a lot of rules. So we're gonna be learning like the one that they are using now. The American Association of Heart. Like they use this kind. So it's so important. So when you just take a look at an EKG to determine the weight and how you are at, because you can be trying to say that's sinus tag, that's a atrial fibrillation or something else. Very important. But firstly, so we talk about the rule of the 6 second method. The 6 second method. So we'll be showing you some strips. I mean, to show you how to do that. And there's another rule of 300. And there's another rule, this like the R2R interval, because I was telling you that, remember, when you have your R2R interval, when you have like, remember I was telling you about R2R interval. When you have like R2R interval, it's really wide. You have like, what did I say again? When it's really wide, when it's really wide, when you have your R interval really wide, remember that we have a slow rhythm. Slow rhythm. When you have your R2R interval, really short, so remember you're gonna have like a fast rhythm. If you want me, I'm talking seriously now. I'm gonna show you like what is it exactly, what I'm telling you exactly, because that is very, very important to know about. This is not something very easy, but I have to show you something very, 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 very important. Look at that, even though we are not there yet. So see it very well. See what's really going on. See this. We are like in the presence of an atrial flutter. Right here, see the R to R. This is our R right here. I don't know if you see it with me. This is our R right here, and this is another R right here. This is atrial flutter. See, so if I must have like this heart rate. So, and I know that I don't show you it before. If I use the rules of 300, I will be counting the little box. I mean the big box that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're gonna have like 300 divided by 4. So you have it. But this is something that you need to know about first. So I'm gonna be trying to show you how to understand them first. So let's see something again. Very, very important, guys. So this is something that we need to know about. We need to know how we should take care of those things. Like, see that? See how, let me show you. See how like your R2R interval, this is right here. See right here to here. I don't know if you see it with me. Right here to here. You see your R2R interval is really narrow or short. It's really narrow or short. And this is the reason why they talk about sinus tachycardia or sinus tach. And we will talk about it. We'll tell you why exactly it's sinus tach or why exactly it's not sinus tach. This is very, very important. And you can see it again. So you see the R to R interval, it's really narrow. And I'm gonna show you another example that, like this one, you have you can see it with me, like you see the R to R interval. I don't know if you can see it with me right here. Very important. You see, it's pretty narrow compared to the first one. This is a really fast rhythm. So we'll be trying to determine to know about the heart rate of every cases that we might have, every case that we might have. Let's see again. Let me show you another example. Those are very important stuff that I'm showing. Those are very important stuff I'm showing you right now. So this thing that will be helping you in the future. Like if you're doing something, you know, like let me show you these things. Like I found another one that's really important. See right here, like this is your this is your R wave. This is not the R wave compared to the other one that I showed you. See how long, you see how long or wide your R to R interval is. This R to R interval is really large, and this is the reason why they talk about sinus bradycardia. This is sinus bradycardia. This is the reason why. Now you understand with me too. So why it's sinus bradycardia, because you have your R to R interval really long compared to the other one that I was showing you. Those are very important. And there's something that I was telling you about. Let me show you an example. Remember that I said in lead 2. See, we are in lead 2. So if you can see it with me, this is lead 2. You have your P wave right here. P wave right here, and you have your Q or S. You see your P wave is inverted. You see, all of them are inverted. See, they are not upright. You see, they are not like that. All your P wave are not like that. You see your P wave are downward like that. You see, they are inverted like that. So this is mainly a case of junctional tachycardia. Why exactly we have the junctional tachycardia? We see the R to R interval, so it's really short. It's short right here. And you remember as what I said again, we have your P, we have your P right here inverted and lead 2. So this is lead 2. You have your P. If you continue saying it, you see this is the P right here inverted, P right here inverted, P right here inverted, P right here inverted. So I told you again. So we might have like some cases where you have your P wave inverted, and you remember what I said about the P wave. The P wave will always be will be upright, like in D2 and D2, and you're gonna have your P wave before the QRS. And if you can see it with me again, if I can like repeat it, so P wave inverted, and you have auto interval really now. Okay, so we talk about the rule of 6 seconds. So we'll be trying to show you how to do that, and the rule of 300. So we're gonna be trying to show you how to to take care of that. And the R to R interval that I was telling you, R to R interval is short or narrow. So how it's gonna be. And there's something that we need to know. Remember what I was saying again. The big boxes. The big box. Let me show you again. There we go. The big boxes right here, those the measures 0.2 seconds, and the little ones measure 0.04 seconds. Very important. And let's go to where I want you to know what I want you to know about that. I said the big box, the wall box is 0.2 seconds, and the little one inside of it is 0.04 seconds. So in our methods, we're gonna have to to see the big box, to see what's going on. To count them too. And the 300 methods, you're gonna be like trying to divide it 300 by the number of big box that the big box that we have. The walls of small box. And so we're gonna be trying to divide it 1,500 by number of little box of small squares that we have. And you remember the small squares are 0.04 and light squares are 0.2 seconds. Very important. Remember what I was telling you about that. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna be trying to show you how to do the second 6 second strips. For the 6 second strips, look with me carefully. See one, it's like we see right here, when for the 6 second strips you need to see the little the lines that we have here. We will always have these lines on the EKG. So you go from a line to another one. So you just count like how many QRS complex that you have and you multiply it by 10. So you see, take a 6 second strips, count number of complex, multiply by 10. So this is what you're gonna do. You see, you have one QRS complex, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your heart was supposed to be 9 multiplied by 10. That would be 90, sorry. This is your heart rate for these strips. For these strips, look what I did. It's like I look up like in the line, because in the EKG you will have these lines right here. So you just have to count like the QRS complex. Remember what I said, those are, if I can do it, it's like P, Q, R, S, T. And you said P, Q, R, S, T. And you can see it with me. I'll show you very well. See it? So this is a QRS complex. So you just count all the QRS complex. All this 20 stuff are QRS complex. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 QRS complex. So you have 9 multiplied by 10. So that would be 90 for the heart rate. This is very important. And if we can see it right here, so I told you in your EKG you would always have those lines right here, this little line right here. So this is what you do for the 6 second strips for this. So if you can do it, if you can see it right here, so you go for 1 QRS complex, 2 QRS complex, and 3 QRS complex. So you do it for you here. You can see it's gonna be 3 multiplied by 10. That will be like 30 for the weight of the heart. This is how it's going. So if we see for this one, so I told you will have like this line right here. So you see the line. So one, you see this lines. They will always be in the EKG right here. So you go right here. You just measure all the QRS complex. Like if you can count with me, that would be awesome. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9. So that means you multiply 9 by 10. You're gonna have like 90 for the heart rate. Very important and very simple. But you always have to count between those 3 lines right here. On the EKG, you're gonna have those lines like at the top. So you need to look up and see where you have this line right here. So you count, like this is why they call it, like from this line to this line, you're gonna have 6 seconds. This is why they call it 6 second strip. So this is the reason why that they call it like that. So you just have to measure like the amount of QRS that you have and multiply by 10, and this is how you're gonna have your heart rate. And don't ask me why that this like that. Is the way that the specialists have put it. So this is how that we all have counted. This is how that we all have like the heart rate. This is one of the way that you can have it, but there are other way. But remember that. So this is very, very, very important. So this is one that you can be really use. This is the 6 second strips. This is pretty simple. You can be using that. Let's see about the other one, because we talk about several ones. Okay, now we're gonna be talking about of the whole of 300. 300 is a number. Is a number that the specialists have put on. So this is a number that you always have the 300. So it's a number. a number that you need to have in your head. This is not a number that I have, or this is a number that you have. This is a number that the specialists have put on. So this is something that you want to know. So to have the heart rate with the 300 meters, so this is what you have to do. So you need to measure how many big bugs that you have, not the small one, but the big bugs. When I talk about the big bugs, the bugs that measure, remember again, 0.2 seconds, not the tiny bugs that measure, not the tiny bugs that measure 0.04 seconds. So to have the heart rate for this for with the volts of 300, so what you do, I said again, you measure the amount of bugs that you have, and you divide it by the amount you have. If you can see right here, let's count. You see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. But if you can see this is right here. It's like in the middle. That's like in the middle of it right here. So if you have the heart rate for this, you have divided 200, like I counted for you. Like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would say 5, but that's not 5. So you see, this is mainly right here. So that should be 0.5. That's not a box. That's not a wheel box. That's not like right here. So that's not a wheel box right here. So that should be on 200 divided, like 1. Let's count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That can be 5, but that's not 5. But divided by 200 divided by 4.5 right here. That should give you your heart rate. That's very, 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 very important. Very important. And if we go right here again, so I showed you like the 200 methods. That's so important. And I will give you an example. So you just count like the amount of these bugs that you have. They have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this right here, that's supposed to be in the middle. So you just 0.5, or 0.5, or you have it. And I say 0.5, like 0.5, and plus this, that should be 1. That should be 4.5, and this is the reason why we divide like 200 divided by 4.5. The R2R methods, that's really important too. It's like you have like you can't like the same thing. The light box, just the really large box. So you just have to count. So you just have to count everything. So you just do it the same. So you have like 1. I did it, but they just do it. They just did it for you too. So it's like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I told you, this, you see, like the same thing. It's not one big box. This is like half of it. They just add like 0.5. So it should be 4 plus 0.5. That should be 4. That should be 4.5 seconds. So they just divided 200 by 4. You can divide it by 4, but that would be a rounded. But that would not be how would you did. And there you have an estimation. And here, so the main thing that you need to do is like the main heart rate for this should be 200 divided by 4.5 seconds. And where do I have 4.5? I showed you again. I count the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 bucks. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 bucks. We say half bucks. That would be 0.5, like plus 0.5. That I put that 0.5. So that means you have like 4 plus 0.5 bucks. 0.5, you know what I'm saying? So that's not it. The half box will be 0.5. That's how you have like 4.5 seconds. And this 4.5 seconds, so you divided 200 by this. That would be, if you can see it right here, I'm gonna show you this very well. So this should be like 75 or 66. If you divided it by 4, that will be 75. If you divided it by 4.5, that will be 66. Very, very important. And this, we were talking about something else. We were talking about if it's regular or irregular, and so forth, so on. So we were talking about all those things. So today we're gonna stop with this. We're gonna stop with this, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and you like and subscribe and share. Saying we have very, very important stuff for you guys, and in the next video I know that you'll be enjoying it, where we're gonna be like trying to read EKG and show you more about it, and read some strips, and having you practicing with us, like read about every single thing that we're gonna have in EKG. But that was very, very important. Like that was so awesome, like being with you guys, and enjoy it and subscribe and share. Bye.